Astros 4 games under 500. Here's your lineup brought to you by U.S. Bank. Michael Bourne again in center. Kaz Matsui at second. Hunter Pence is in right field. That means no Lance Berkman tonight. Carlos Lee is in left. Miguel Tejada, the shortstop, having a real good year against Reds pitching. And Blum for Berkman at first. Former Red Jeff Keppinger at third. Chris Coast behind the plate. And Roy Oswalt on the mound. Kip Wells starting his 5th game as a Red. His last outing was by far his worst outing in a loss against Colorado.
Well, he's already got things going for him before the game even starts. He's got the most deadly hitter against the Reds, seems like forever, in Lance Berkman, and he's sitting on the bench. So that bodes well for Wells right off the bat. I think if you're Kip Wells and you know in your mind that the more fatigue that you have in your body, the better your ball sinks. So early in the ball game, hopefully he won't try to overthrow, and he'll just try to make pitches and let that ball move like it does in the 4th and the 5th innings when he's out there and he actually has real fatigue.
Let's take a look at the Reds defensively behind Kip Wells, presented by Ford. Stubbs in center, Nixon left. Look who's back in right. Jay Bruce, game-winning hit off the bench here last night. Roland, Janish, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto third to first, and a battery of Kip Wells and the veteran Corky Miller. So Jay Bruce getting a start for the first time since July the 11th. That's when he came in to make a diving catch at Citi Field in New York and fractured his right wrist. Returned to the Reds active roster last night. And for those of you who aren't with us, had a bases loaded pitch hit, 2-run single off left-hander Wesley Wright, which gave the Reds a 2-1 lead. They tacked on a run in the 9th on a Brandon Phillips home run in a 3-1 decision. Michael Bourne digging in. First pitch fastball low, and this game underway. Bourne 2 hits and a stolen base in the game last night. Bourne leads the National League with 55 stolen bases. He also leads the league in triples, infield hits, 39 of those, has 15 bunt hits. So he has had an outstanding year at the top of that Houston batting order. And you're getting an early look at why Wells really puts himself in trouble. The inability to throw strikes consistently. In 30 2/3 innings, he's only allowed 22 hits, and the league is batting .208 against him. But in the 30 innings, he's walked 19 batters, and there's a 4-pitch walk to begin the game.
And a lot of that is he comes out early in the ball game thinking that he's going to have a certain type of movement that he normally has later in the game, but he's so strong early he doesn't know how to read the pitches that he's throwing. And I know that he's talked to Dick Pohl about that. He and I have had that conversation, and he knows that when he gets tired, the ball moves better for him. Therefore, he doesn't give up as many hits. But he feels like he's got to get through the first couple of innings before everything starts to come together. And I told him, I said, well, that's 2 long innings right there. I said, that's tough to do.
First pitch fastball near strike to Kaz Matsui. 249 batter, 5 home runs, 38 runs batted in. We told you Bourne, the 55 stolen bases. He's only been thrown out 10 times. Runner goes, pitch taken. Miller's throw is not in time. Phillips snatched that thing out of the dirt. It was very close. But Bourne, number 56 on the year. Wow.
It's awfully difficult for any second baseman or shortstop to pick the ball. Watch this ball from Corky Miller. It bounces in the dirt. So Phillips has to come up and catch the ball as he's coming up and then immediately go right back down. That is virtually impossible to do.
We'd like to see Brandon stay with that tag a little bit. Bourne had such momentum sliding in that momentarily you saw he lost contact with the bag.
You can see the Bourne goes on past the bag, but you're taught so many times from an infielder's perspective to get down there, make the tag, and get out. Make it quick, pop it down there, and pull it up, and most of the time you get the benefit of the doubt from the umpire.
3-1 now to Matsui. You know, it's hard to really figure why the Astros have had such a hard time scoring runs this year. There are only 4 teams in the National League that have scored fewer runs than this Astros club. And when you look up and down their order, when they've got everybody in the lineup, you would figure they would score a ton of runs. 3-2 now to Matsui.
Right.
The only teams in the league
right there with you,
that have scored fewer runs than Houston. The Reds being one of them. Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and San Diego. They're 3rd in the league batting with runners in scoring position. As a club, hitting .275. So go figure. 3-2. And there's a base hit into center field. So a walk, a stolen base, and a single. And after 2 batters, the Astros have a 1-0 lead for Roy Oswalt.
And when you look at this club, Tom, they have all the ingredients that you need to win ball games or to score runs. They've got speed at the top of the order. They've got batting average and on base percentage at the top of the order with Michael Bourne. They've got guys hitting behind him, and Berkman and Lee, and then down to Hunter Pence and Miguel Tejada. I guess I'm just as befuddled as the statistical people are.
Now Hunter Pence at .287. 23 home runs, 68 runs batted in. Matsui has 18 stolen bases. He's only been thrown out 3 times. Strike 1 to Pence.
I will say this, though, Tom. You look at the bottom 4 in their order, counting the pitcher with Jeff Blum, Keppinger, Chris Coast, or Humberto Quintero, and then the pitcher spot. All of those guys are from right around that .260 mark and below. They don't hit like those guys that are the 1 through 5.
Runner goes, pitch taken, a strike, throw by Miller, and Phillips unable to make the catch. Looked like a pretty good throw.
Wow, that looked like it was right on the money. I'm not sure where this hit in Brandon Phillips' mitt, but it looked like it hit right in the mitt. Well, it looked like he kicked it out as he slid in. He just didn't catch the ball.
So now Matsui in scoring position. Still nobody out. It's 0-2 to Pence, and this is a ground ball that will advance a runner on to third. That's a nice productive out by Hunter Pence. 1 away in the inning.
And you're hitting in the number 3 spot. A lot of people would say, well, why doesn't he just try to drive him in that situation? He's got a couple of strikes on him, and he's still able to hit the ball to the right side, move the runner to third base in Matsui. All Carlos Lee has to do here is just get a fly ball into the outfield, which this big guy can do in his sleep.
Carlos Lee 5 RBIs away from hitting the 100 mark again this year, and when he gets there, that will mark 5 straight years he's knocked in 100 or more runs. Knocked knocking on the door as well for 1,100 in his career. Needs 4 more to get to that number. That's a pile of RBIs, man. Whew. And Lee's got a lot of baseball left in him.
He does, Tom, and he's really the kind of guy that the light goes on when the runners are on base.
But this time they're going to take care of Lee, and he'll leave that runner at third. That's out number 2 on the week. Pop up to Brandon Phillips, so a big out for Wells. Matsui at third with Miguel Tejada coming up, and 2 gone in the first inning.
This looks like a curveball that's outside, and Lee goes after it, and for some reason his left foot was stepping into the bucket when he made contact. You can see how far his left foot is outside of the batter's box. I think he was trying to pull the ball and just ends up getting it off the end of the bat.
Oh, let's see if Wells can take care of Miguel Tejada, having a good year. 301 batter, 11 home runs, 74 runs batted in. There's ball 1. Tejada broke in with the Oakland Athletics all the way back in 1997. His breakout year came in 2000 when he hit 30 home runs, knocked in 115 runs. Of course, in 2002, he was the American League's most valuable player. Hit 308 that year, 34 home runs, and knocked in 131 runs as a shortstop.
Didn't he get a bunch of votes for Rookie of the Year when he first broke in with Oakland? I just remember being out that way when he came up. It just seems like he had a bunch of votes.
Yeah, he was one of only 4 rookies to start at least 100 games. Talked about Bark in the Park night here tonight. About 550 dogs in attendance. And the first 10,000 fans got that Reds pet food bowl, thanks to Eukanuba. Had a parade around the warning track before the game about 6:30. 2-1 on Miguel Tejada. Runner at third, 2 away. And a line drive center field base hit. It's 2-0 Houston.
You talked about Carlos Lee, you talked about Berkman, and now Tejada. You look at their statistical ranks and how difficult it is to strike these guys out. Tejada, second toughest in the National League to strike out. Carlos Lee, 4th toughest to strike out, and both of them with tremendous power. That doesn't usually bode too well for the pitcher. A lot of times you get one or the other. Either the guy has a lot of power but he strikes out, or he doesn't have a lot of power but he just slaps the ball around.
Runner goes, pitch taken, throw down to second. That's 3 for 3 in stolen base attempts for the Astros against Kip Wells. Don't blame Corky Miller for any of this.
That's why I'm glad that you said Kip Wells, because with that big leg kick that he's using to come to home plate, it doesn't matter which catcher we have back there. Watch the leg kick as he picks that front leg up. It's all the way up and all the way down, and you can see how far down the line that Tejada is before the ball's ever delivered to home.
Ground ball back up the middle into center field. That'll be another hit and another run. 3-0 Houston here in the first inning, and they're still batting. Longest 46th run batted in.
That's why you have to keep the men close at first base and not allow them to put a track meet together as Kip Wells has done here early in this ball game. You can't just go with the same. If you're going to have a big high leg kick like that, well, you have to vary your moves to first base. Then you got to do something to keep that runner from getting in a 3-point stance and seeing how fast he can run down to second.
Blum does not have a stolen base all year long. He may try and change that. Has a huge lead over there held on by Votto. You know, Jeff, I've never understood the importance when people talk about a catcher and you know, the rate at which they throw out opposing base stealers. Now, I'm sure there are many out there that would argue vehemently that that statistic means something. I have never paid attention to that stat one time in a game overloaded with statistics, because it is not entirely pro or con the catcher that's throwing guys out or not throwing guys out.
That you just hit the nail on the head. The big key for that statistic, for me anyway, is arm strength of the catcher.
Now, the one stat that nobody talks about is the pitcher's stolen base attempts and success ratio. They always talk about this catcher throws out, 41% of the would-be base stealers.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and so does the opposing dugout. And if they're looking out and seeing that high leg kick from Kip Wells, they're going to run and run and run.
Two and oh the count on Jeff Keppinger. Of course, he was traded from the Reds just about the middle of spring training over to Houston in the Drew Sutton deal. Well, certainly setting the tone for this game right from the get-go, walking Michael Bourne on 4 straight pitches. And now he's gone 3-1 to Keppinger. The Astros have a walk, 3 hits, 3 stolen bases, and 3 runs.
Well, they've scored them all the same way. You walk, steal second base, you hit, you steal second base, and as you hit, you drive in a run. I mean, it's kind of been the same process for all 3 batters. And you can see Kip Wells now starting to pick over to first base, trying to keep them close. That's something that you do to the first batter. You don't wait until they've already put 3 runs on the board or even 2 runs on the board. You stop it immediately.
3-1 to Keppinger. Blum at first, and there's a strike. So now the runner will get started on this 3-2 pitch with 2 away. In dog years, this inning feels like it's about an hour and a half for Kip Wells. 3-2 delivery. And this should do it. Jay Bruce in right is there, and mercifully the inning is over. 3 runs, 3 hits, 3 steals, and a walk. Astros send Roy Oswalt to the mound with a 3-0 lead. You look at Dusty Baker's starting lineup tonight, presented by U.S. Bank. Bruce Stubbs in center, Paul Janish at short, Joey Votto at first, Brandon Phillips at second, a cleanup hitter, Scott Rowland at third, Jay Bruce back in the lineup in right. A louder third of Lance Nix, Corky Miller, and Kip Wells. And you talk about Roy Oswalt, certainly an off year for him. Making his 30th start, has won just 8 games and has an ERA slightly over 4. Those are un-Roy Oswalt-like numbers. And in the air on the very first pitch, and it is gone. The Reds are on the board.
Well, they're Oswalt-like numbers simply because his location has not been the same as it has been in years past. As you get older, you try to throw the ball harder. As you throw the ball harder, the ball elevates. And that's exactly what happened there to Stubbs. That pitch was up in the strike zone, and he hammered it.
Reds have 2 leadoff home runs this entire year, and both of them have come from Drew Stubbs since being brought up from Louisville. Paul Janish looks at ball 1. So a 3-1 game. Home run number 6 for Drew Stubbs. And that one shot into right center field off the bat of Janish. This will be for extra bases. So how about the start tonight by Stubbs and Janish against Oswalt? 23-1 in his career against the Reds.
Tom, there's no sense for any Reds hitter to come to the plate and look for anything but that, and that's a fastball, whether it's in or whether it's out. Roy doesn't quite have the same tilt that he's had in the past because he's got that lower back issue, sciatica, whatever you want to call it, and it's very difficult for him to get up on top of the baseball and drive it down so the ball stays flat and allows you to get to it a little better.
Fastball to Joey Votto, fouled away. A .299 batter, 21 home runs, 70 runs batted in. That's back-to-back fastballs in on the hands. Great location on both those fastballs from Oswalt. Look at those numbers. Mercy.
I'm trying not to. That's scary.
Three straight fastballs. There's no fooling around here.
Well, all of those pitches are inside on Votto. The key there is the fact that those pitches are balls. They're right at Joey Votto's hands, and yet Votto's still trying to inside out that pitch, because to Joey Votto that looks like a strike, and to most hitters it looks like a strike. It's very difficult to lay off of that pitch right at your hands. And this is where we have seen just about every ball club pitch Votto from the second half since he's been back, really, is right inside, whether it be breaking ball or fastball. They're trying to come in on him and then throwing changeups away.
You know, really, you'd have to say it's been a very effective weapon against Votto, and certainly something he's going to have to make an adjustment to looking ahead in his career, because since he came off the disabled list the third week of June, he's been a .272 batter. And that's not a bad number.
No.
But Votto was hitting in the 360s before he went on the disabled list.
And I think that's part of playing in the big leagues, is as much as it is for anyone, young player, old player, you adjust to what the league is doing to you. And it is really not just one team. It is overall in the game of baseball. When teams face the Reds, they're going to pitch Joey Votto hard inside and real slow away. So he's going to have to adjust to that. How does he do it? He's going to have to figure it out.
2-2. They're coming in there again, and this one is in the air to short left field, and that's an easy play for Lee. One away in the inning.
But I have seen batters in the past that have taken fastballs that have been inside at their hands, and they hit them out of the ballpark right down the right field line. Most of the pitchers after that don't come back in there.
Now Brandon Phillips hit his 20th home run of the year last night to go with 24 stolen bases, 26 doubles. And by going 20-20-20 for the third straight year, Brandon Phillips becomes the first Reds player to ever do that. Vada Pinson and Joe Morgan did it back-to-back years twice in their careers as Reds. But Phillips has now done it 3 in a row. Strike one.
And you notice, Tom, with Joey Votto at the plate and no outs and a runner at second base, instead of trying to roll over the ball or pull the ball to the right side to advance the runner to third base, he was trying to get a base hit and ends up flying out to left field, whereas Pence, on the other hand, hit the ball to the right side and moved his runner to third.
That one fouled off Phillips' foot. No balls, 2 strikes.
This ball runs right in on Brandon. It didn't quite get to the foot. That one caught the shin. Every time I see that, I think of Jermaine Dye. I can't help it.
I was there that night. And like every other time you see it happen in a game, you think, well, he'll get up and he'll be all right. Broke his leg in 3 places.
And you just don't, I mean, you don't know how that happens, but I guess it just hits right at the right spot, and then it's over.
It's amazing it doesn't happen more frequently.
I agree. I agree. Jeff Keppinger last year off of his upper kneecap, and I mean, to foul a ball off your knee. But, I mean, you just don't ever know where that ball is going to go.
Oh, and to the count on Phillips. Janish in second with one out. There's a fastball away. You know, you get back to Oswalt and his complete domination of the Reds. 23-1 record. He won his first 15 decisions against the Reds before they finally chopped him down on April the 28th in 2006. Since that loss 3.5 years ago, he's won 8 in a row against the Reds. There's a base hit into left field. And advancing on the third is Janish. They're on the corners with one away. And we look at Houston defensively, presented by Ford. Bourne in center field. Lee in left with Hunter Pence in right. Blum filling in for Lance Berkman over at first base with Matsui, Tejada, and Keppinger along the infield. The battery of Oswalt and Chris Coast.
As we just talked about, Tom, that ball that Pence hit to second base in Phillips' situation, if Votto does that, Reds have a run on the board.
Well, Roland will try and get Janish in from third and maybe do a little more than that. Ball one outside. Going into this season, the second most wins against another club that Roy Oswalt has in his career, 13 against Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. 13. And he has 12 wins in his career against the Cubs. There is not another team in baseball that he has more than 8 wins against. He has gotten fat in his career against the Reds.
And the fact that it's interdivision is even worse.
Fly ball into right field will bring in another run. Pence makes the grab at the track. Tagging and scoring is Janish. And it's a one-run ball game, 3-2. Well done by Scotty Roller. He does a lot of things well.
This is what I'm interested to see tonight with Jay Bruce coming to the plate, Lance Nix playing in left field. Jay has probably had a heck of a lot more at bats than Lance Nix, but still neither have been at this big league level except for one AB for Jay last night, and it changes when you get here, and let's hope it changes for the better.
What are your thoughts about Jay Bruce playing winter ball? That's his decision after missing so much time this year.
I think it is a tremendous idea. I think he realizes there's something missing in his swing. I think it's a wise decision. But the key is that you go down and you work on that. You don't go down just to see how many home runs you can hit or how far you can hit the ball or what you're going to, you go down there to specifically work on something. If he goes down there just to get 40 or 50 at bats in and he hits 160 like he did when he was down in AAA, it is a worthless trip. And let's hope it doesn't turn into that.
3-1 to Jay, and full badly there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Hey, look who's behind home plate down there. It's Dick Vitale. What in the world's he doing here? I noticed Bob Castellini just came in. And getting up to shake his hand, Dick Vitale. 2-hopper to second. That'll end the inning. Wow. How about that? That's your guy. Brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Will this be the top of the batting order for the Reds? Cowboy looking ahead to 2010, Stubbs and Janish.
In my mind, I say no. I say the man that's going to be at the top of that order is going to be Chris Dickerson. got one of the best on-base percentages on this ball club, if not the best. He started out absolutely terrible this year, but I think he made adjustments that nobody else has made on this ball club, and that's getting himself better. And he really got better by studying what he was doing wrong. And if you're playing this game and you don't know what your weaknesses are, you won't get any better.
And I don't want to speak for you or put words in your mouth, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Dickerson would be the center fielder. He could playing in left field,
right,
leading off his ball club.
Play anywhere, but I like Dickerson as a leadoff hitter. I don't know what they will do with Willie Taveras. I don't know how that situation is going to work out, but I know that this club goes when Dickerson is in that leadoff spot, and it goes because he gets on base. And he has turned himself, he's made himself into a very good big league hitter.
Roy Oswalt leading things off in the Houston second inning. A 3-2 ball game with the Astros in front. The Astros had 3 hits, scored 3 runs, stole 3 bases in that first inning. The last time a Houston team stole 3 bases in the first inning of a game, you have to go back to April the 24th, 1998, when the Astros were playing at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The last time the Reds allowed 3 stolen bases in the first inning of a game was back in June of 2006 against the New York Mets.
Make pitches, field your position, hold runners. Pitcher's job.
Oh.
You can see Tejada at first base, and he's going to read that front leg. Now watch as Wells picks that leg up, and it's very slow, and the leg is in the air, and you can already see Tejada as he passes the pitcher head down. That is a dead straight steal when the head is down.
Well, Oswalt helping Wells there on a 3-2 pitch. He swung at a pitch up and in that would have been ball 4. Or Acosta, beg your pardon. Oswalt coming up.
I think Corky Miller, when he goes out to the mound, it's not just about talking about pitches or how they're going to pitch to a certain guy. I think he can sense when a pitcher is a little bit stressed, when he's a little bit out of wits or whatever you want to call it, and he'll go out there and make a joke. He'll go out there, talk about something funny, whatever it takes to kind of loosen the guy up and get him back into the game a little bit.
0-1 to Roy Oswalt, and there's a grounder down to Votto, and he'll wave off Wells, and they're quickly 2 away in the second inning. We remind you, as always, when the Reds get it done with an RBI this season, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. So 2 away, and here comes Michael Bourne.
I think the Reds have got to start making Michael Bourne hit off-speed stuff and breaking balls. He's already proved he can hit the fastball into left field and back up the middle, as we saw him off the Rhodes last night. That ball back up the middle was tagged. There's a good changeup. See, that's a pitch that I just don't believe that Stubbs is ready for. Not Stubbs, but Michael Bourne is ready at this point to be able to hit. He has gotten himself started so much on the fastball that the breaking balls and the changeup he's just not ready for.
Phillips. Yes, sir. So 1-2-3 for Mr. Wells. We go to the bottom of the second, the one-run game. TM. Geico, 15 minutes. Could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by Jeep. Get to your Jeep dealer today for some of the best deals of the season. Well, that looks like a good night. Hanging out there.
I love fishing.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh. Before that house burnt down, I had 3 ponds that were flat, fixed, and ready to go. Had everything right.
Now, wait a minute. Okay. There's a roller by Nick's down to first out of the inning. Before we go any further, I'm not laughing that your house burned down, but I mean, there are a lot of people out there when you say that line. Now, before that house burned down.
Well, it did. It burned down.
Well, I know, but do you think that you fill everybody in? You know, I had a house that burned down.
Before the house I had that burnt down, I had some real good ponds, and I had them all fixed up. Is that what you wanted me to say? Like
yeah, thanks. Because people start feeling bad for you, man. You know, I mean, I've heard the story enough where, you know, obviously it's well in the past now. That was a tragic time when it happened in your life. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
But I had some good fishing ponds. That's the big thing. I actually had ponds that I had Florida hybrid bass in one pond, regular largemouth bass in another pond, and they bit on different days. So
really?
You could always fish and catch fish. It was the greatest thing of all time.
You know what? There are a lot of people out there that love to fish. Here's a pop-up along the infield by Corky Miller, 2 away in the inning. Let me ask you a question now.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
A serious question. I'm not kidding around, because I very much enjoy fishing. I don't get to do it enough, but when I go, I love it. If you have a pond,
yes.
well, you know, you got to stock the thing, or if you want
yes,
to, which you obviously do. Okay. How do you go about doing that? And you know, I mean, did you determine what you wanted it stocked with?
Yes, but there's a system that goes in there, because you can only have 500 fish per acre. If you go over that, then it'll smother your pond, or it won't allow them to grow. And that's whether it's fingerlings, little bitty, you know, minnows that the large fish eat, whether it's brim or any other type of feeding fish for the bass. You don't necessarily have to have bass. There was one pond that I had nothing but catfish and bluegill for the kids to fish at. So that way they would always have something to catch.
There's strike 3 call.
We'll talk about it tomorrow night.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. I feel a little bit like a catfish tonight. At Tundra. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. All righty, we started last night our list of movies for you to vote on, and we broke it down into 4 heats for the best baseball movie of all time. In the heat last night, The Natural, a runaway winner. Tonight, boy, there's stiff competition. Bad News Bears, great movie. Major League, great movie. A lot of people like The League of Our Own. And then The Sandlot. I know a lot of people like that movie. But text your choice to 37664. And we'll continue this right on through Reds Live, the post game.
I liked
to determine a winner.
I liked every one of them.
Well, those top 2, I mean, golly day. I got to believe that's going to be a neck and neck race, although it looks like Sandlot is very much in the mix.
Throw in the heater, Ricky.
Ricky Vaughn. I watched that movie again the other night. But boy, Bad News Bears.
Oh, that Bad
great
News Bears
movie.
is hilarious.
Walter Matthau.
Oh.
How good was he?
Great.
That ball drilled down the right field line off the bat of Matsui, and it sails into the bullpen, a home run. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored tonight for Kaz Matsui, and that makes it a 2-run Houston lead at 4-2.
Wanted the ball away, threw the ball in, and the ball got up about mid-thigh, and Matsui hammered it.
Well, we talked about the winner tonight. We'll move on to the final round Friday.
This is on the movie deal, right?
Right. You can visit Fox Sports Ohio's Facebook page at facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio. You can comment on your favorite movie. And Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro will read some of those posts during Reds Live, the post-game version. All right, but Cowboy, if you had to vote, Bad News Bears,
Bad News Bears.
Major League,
Bad News Bears.
A League of Their Own, or The Sandlot.
Bad News Bears.
Really? Better than Major League?
It was one of the first baseball movies I'd ever seen, and I still have it. I bought it on VHS, and I went and bought it on DVD. It's great. It's funny as ever. I love it. I love it when they went to Japan. I love it all the whole.
Remember when they played in the Astrodome in Bad News Bears 2?
It was great.
William Devane, I think, was the coach in round 2. They didn't have Walter Matthau come back.
Right.
There's Tatum O'Neal. Ooh, still like her.
What was the guy in the back that would run and catch the ball all over the outfield? Kelly Leak.
Rode his motorcycle around.
Tried to smoke cigarettes. He was hilarious.
And then the little guy wanted to fight everybody. A little blonde-haired kid there. Tanner.
That was me. Tanner. Stuffed me in the trash can. But the thing that I loved about the movie is they were all individuals from the beginning, and they became a team.
Oh, yeah. On the ground is short, and Pence thrown out. All right, let's check in on the voting. I think this is going to be, when all is said and done, our toughest.
I think this is going to be the toughest one. I really do.
Look at The Sandlot, Cowboy. The leader.
Sandlot was a great movie. My kids absolutely loved it.
Are you surprised that A League of Their Own is way back?
Well, I mean, you got to pick one of them, and they were all great movies.
That ball hammered into right field, but room for Jay Bruce, and Lee retired for the second out. Now, I've never seen this movie, The Sandlot.
You haven't seen it?
Obviously, it's a family movie, so maybe one of these days I'll make sure that it's all cool with the language and all that, and get the kids to watch it.
Yeah, it's even better when it's dog night here at the ballpark. Remember I said that when you're watching it.
Well, obviously, a lot of people watching our telecast right now love that movie.
It's good. Very good. I told you the other day that 2 of my favorite were in that top 2 spot, Bad News Bears and Sandlot.
But what about Major League? I mean, come on, you got all those great stars that were in that movie and some of the great scenes in that movie.
I liked it. I like League of Their Own too. I thought League of Their Own was about as special as they come.
That went out in front of the plate, and Miller will throw out Tejada. So a leadoff home run in the 3rd by Matsui sends us to the bottom of the 3rd. Houston in front 4-2. Of the game from Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own. There's no crying in baseball. Saying that to Madonna.
I do like that line because I use that at home with my children, because they know Daddy has baseball and there's no crying in baseball. Even my daughter uses it on Mason. He tells him, Mason, no crying in baseball. On that.
Bottom of the 3rd inning, Houston a 4-2 lead. Drew Stubbs homered his first time up against Roy Oswalt. This time a broken bat roller to Tejada, and that's a first out here in the 3rd inning. like the way you said that line from Major League when the manager came out to visit Ricky Vaughn.
Throw him the heater, Ricky.
Actually, he said that from the dugout.
He did.
He did. That was in the at-bat against that nasty guy from the Yankees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He struck him.
Breaking ball in the outside corner to Paul Janish. He doubled and scored. Bob Uecker, one of our all-time favorites.
That ball hit halfway to South America.
Grounded down to third. And there are 2 away in the inning.
And then the dude that killed the chicken and stuff, put it over everybody. Heck with you, Jabu. I do myself.
Serrano.
Yeah. Something. I forgot his first name. But after he got rid of that witchcraft, he started raking. What was the guy's name? Willie Mays Hayes.
That's right. Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
2 away in the inning for Joey Votto. He takes outside ball 1. See, you're coming around a little bit now.
He couldn't hit a lick. They throw him a slider up there and he goes straight back to the dugout until they taught him how to bunt.
Votto lifts one into short left center field, but it will fall in between the 2 defenders, Lee and Bourne, and then goes to the wall, and Votto pulls out with a 2-out double. Didn't look like he hit it all that well.
That's how you hit the ball that's up and in on your hands. You cut it that way. You get the fat part of the bat to the baseball, and you don't try to overswing. That way the ball gets to the outfield. It looks like the center fielder is going to catch it easily, and the ball keeps running and running and running and running and running until it finally hits the ground and rolls all the way to the wall, and you got yourself a double.
I think Joey's even a little surprised that ball carried as far as it did. Saw that grin on his face looking down to Martin Berry, the third base coach.
Well, it's almost like hitting a driver. One you slice and the ball goes nowhere, and one you hit with that overspin, which that ball was, and it just kept going and going, just like you draw a golf ball.
Slow roller to Tejada, and that will end the Reds' third. A hit, a man left. We go to the 4th, where Houston leads by a pair. Question tonight: what is the name of the coach of the Bad News Bears? That's played by Walter Matthau.
I know what it is. You know what it is?
I'm trying to think. It's kind of a funny name, right? Long name. Like something burger or
margarine,
butter. I'm on the right path here.
Close.
Buttermaker.
There you go.
Nice. But do you remember his first name? We're asking for the full name.
Ooh, that could be tough.
I mean, this is now, we're really getting deep into this. Ball 1 to Jeff Blum. And he pops it up. Playable and foul ground for Scott Rowland. 1 away to start the Houston 4th inning. The Astros scored 3 in the first, Reds 2 in the first. And the Astros got a solo home run by Matsui to make it a 2-run lead in the 3rd.
What if Wells had just held on maybe one of those runners?
Get a bonus round on our Aflac trivia question. We already gave you the last name, so you got to come up with a first name. But a bonus, which means you get sprinkles on top of your single dip cone.
Single dip.
Well, in your case, 7 dips.
Thank you.
Ground ball down to 3rd, and Rowland throws out Keppinger for the 2nd out of the inning. But you get sprinkles on top. If you can tell me Tatum O'Neal's, just give me her first name from that movie. I don't know how many times they said her last name, but her first name, many of you will remember.
Trying to remember.
2 away in the inning for Coast, who struck out his first time up. In there, strike. I can see those wheels spinning.
Oh, they are, because I watched it so many times. I just can't remember what it is. Now I'm thinking to myself, if Wells had held on those runners a little closer in the first inning, this may be a tie game.
Yeah, for those of you that weren't with us,
or at least a one-run game.
Wells walked the leadoff man, Michael Bourne, on 4 pitches. He stole second base. Base hit knocked him in. Matsui then stole second. And 2 batters later, Tejada knocked him in. Tejada stole second, and Blum knocked him in. 2-hopper down to Rowland. And a 1-2-3 inning for Mr. Wells. So the Reds come to bat in the bottom of the 4th, still trailing by 2. What is the name of the coach of the Bad News Bears? We gave you his last name, but how about the first name? Morris Buttermaker.
Check out Tanner back there. What a mess. That kid, check him out. Nice stance.
Look at that mound.
Yeah. What is that? That Coke right there?
No.
I don't think so.
Buttermaker liked having a pop every now and again.
Yeah. Beer maker.
I would have asked you Tatum O'Neal's character as a bonus. You finally got it right in between innings.
Yes, I did know what. I got a little help, though, I have to admit. I didn't get it myself.
Amanda.
Yes.
0-2 on Rowland. And that one fouled back to the screen. Scotty with a sac fly RBI in the 2-run first inning.
I don't remember Buttermaker ever being referred to as Morris.
No.
But I do remember Buttermaker referring to Tatum O'Neal as Amanda when she was icing her arm and told Buttermaker to get out of here. I'm all right.
Well, you had Tanner Boyle, you had Kelly Leak. Amanda's last name, and I never remember hearing that, like you said, Wurlitzer. Amanda Wurlitzer.
No, I don't remember that.
You had Ahmad Abdul-Ram. Remember him? Speedy outfielder.
Yeah.
Engelberg.
Yeah, Engelberg was the guy they wanted to lean in and get hit, and he was like,
Ground ball to short. Tejada throws out Rowland. Remember Engelberg?
Yeah, no, that wasn't Engelberg. Well, Ogilvy, that's right. Ogilvy.
No. The guy they always wanted to get hit, and he didn't want to do it, was Rudy Stein.
Yeah, Rudy Stein. Rudy was the guy that cracked me up. Rudy, just lean in there and let it hit you. You mean let it hit me like on my arm? I don't know.
He finally did it, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Took one for the team.
Closed his eyes, pushed his glasses up tight, and turned his arm, and it whacked him.
There's a drive into left field off the bat of Jay Bruce. But in front of the wall, Carlos Lee able to reach up and snatch it away for the second out of the inning. And then what was the other little guy's name? Lupus?
Yes. I think that's right. Tanner used to pick on him to start with, and then he ended up being his friend. Took up for him.
That's right.
I'm telling you, there was a story behind that story. Everybody started out as individuals, and they all became a team. That's what baseball is about.
Great stuff. But at last check, that was not the leader in the clubhouse. The Sandlot had a slight lead. 1-0 to Lance Nix. Big swing and a miss on an Oswalt fastball. I mean, last check, going back to when we introduced this during the pregame show, so far we are hovering somewhere right around 7,700 votes. We were well over 13,000, I'm told, last night. Big numbers.
Betty B.
One and two on Lance Nix with 2 down and nobody on. A fastball is high to even the count.
Nix needs to just look fastball and look down and hope he can catch one.
Of course, he's not played since the final day of August. Has been on the DL with that bulging cervical disc. Off the end of the bat into shallow center field. Bourne is there, and Oswalt retires his side in order for the second time tonight. We go to the fifth. Astros 4 and the Reds 2. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Back at Great American Ballpark on a glorious September night. Astros in front 4-2. Pitcher against pitcher to begin the fifth inning. Strike one to Roy Oswalt, who grounded out to Joey Votto, his only time up. Wells throwing a lot more strikes since that first inning, seemingly falling behind every hitter that came to the plate. He's only allowed one hit and one run over the last 3 innings and hasn't walked anybody since.
I think if he would just trust himself to warm up a little bit longer in the bullpen and have a little bit more fatigue when he comes out to the mound to start the game, it might help him a little bit, because once he gets a little bit tired, it's almost as though he locks in. He gets a lot more movement on his fastball.
Fly ball, shallow center, and Stubbs is there to get it, one away. I'd like to remind you, this coming weekend, Fox Saturday Baseball presents a renewal of one of the great rivalries in the game. The Cubs and the Cardinals from St. Louis. 4 o'clock Eastern, only on Fox. Of course, football season kicking off in earnest last weekend. Cowboy, you're a big fan of who? What team's your favorite pro team?
Pro team?
Or do you have a couple of them? I mean, you know, growing up where you grew up in Alabama and then moving to Mississippi, really, you got a lot of choices.
I've always loved the Cowboys, and I used to like the Dolphins a lot because they were, back when I was growing up, that was Greasy and Staubach. I have come to continue to like the Cowboys, but I think that the team that I really enjoy watching now is the Tennessee Titans. Because I can get there, I can get tickets to the game, and it's a great place to watch a ball game. And never thought in my life I would be a candidate to go to an NFL game, but I really like going up there and watching them play. It's fun.
And more times than not, they got a very good team.
It's fun to go to New Orleans. There's a lot of folks around our area that love to go and watch the Saints play, but I like to watch people play that are going to win.
2-2 to Michael Bourne. Titans win a lot of games.
Yes, they do, and they play hard. Jeff Fisher's done a wonderful.
Oh yeah, been there a long time. Back to before when they moved from Houston. 2-2 to Michael Bourne. And a bouncing ball to the second baseman Phillips. He'll come in to get it because Bourne can run, and they're 2 away.
And I think the coach in New Orleans has done a great job with that ball club, but there's just been a lot of turnover, you know. Now, from the defensive side, they don't really hold the team a whole lot. You don't like him? You do like him?
Of course, when you have a quarterback throw 6 touchdown passes in a game on opening weekend, you ain't got to stop him much.
Well, I understand that.
You know what I'm saying.
But they don't. It just doesn't seem as though they play the defensive part of the game. I mean, you got to play both sides, but they can light it up a little bit.
Oh yeah. 0-1 on Kaz Matsui. Strike on the outside corner.
And you see how much more his ball is moving now, and I don't think there's any less effort, anything else. It's just the fact that he's got a little bit of fatigue, and the ball is really dancing in the strike zone.
Well, he has 2 down here in the 5th inning. Nobody on. Gave up 3 of the 4 runs in the very first inning. Phillips there to back up Wells. Throws out Matsui. He's retired for the first time in a game. 9 in a row retired by Wells, but he trails the Astros 4-2. The Reds has in the community pages of the Greater Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky edition of the new Cincinnati Bell directories for your discount code for half-price Reds tickets. That's right, half price. This offer valid Monday through Thursday games for the remainder of this season, subject to availability. Visit Reds.com/CDD for more information. Reds are trailing 4-2 as they bat against Roy Oswalt here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Now, Cowboy, we know it's Bark in the Park night tonight.
Correct.
And you know how we go on the road and we stay in a Westin hotel and you stay in those heavenly beds?
Yeah.
Did you know they make those for dogs?
A heavenly bed.
A heavenly bed for dogs. The folks from the Westin were kind enough to just bring one in here, and I'm going to take it home and have one of my 3 tried out.
Really?
But you know, we were talking to Chris. Come here, Gracie. We were talking to Chris Welsh about whether or not he was going to bring one of his dogs to the game. Come here, sit down. And look at this. His daughter Gracie's been wanting to come down here. Gracie, who do you have here?
Ellie.
Ellie? How many dogs do you have at home?
2.
2. Boy, this is adorable little dog. Yeah, Ellie's how? Well, you just got her, right?
Recently.
How long ago? Or how old is she? Do you know?
Maybe about 5 months.
Okay, she is adorable. Is she having fun tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, out there with all the other dogs?
Yes.
Wow. That is great. Look, there you are. From earlier when you got here. And there's great Gracie. Look at yourself on TV. And Ellie, look at yourself on TV.
Gracie's thinking, whatever.
Well, thanks so much for bringing her down here tonight, Gracie. She wants to get down here. Let's let her get out. You want to do that? You okay?
It's funny, sometimes dogs see themselves on TV or they'll see another dog.
I know. I know.
They go crazy. At least my 2 do.
Well, that's great stuff. Chris Welsh has a night off tonight, and he was talking about, you know, Bark in the Park and how Gracie wanted to bring one of their dogs down, and Chris says, okay, let's do it.
I think it's great.
It's great stuff. Way to go, Chris. Good job. Great stuff.
That's being a good daddy.
That sure is. And you know how those little girls are. They own their daddies.
You got that right.
1 away here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That's a beautiful dog. What kind of dog was that? I meant to ask him. That's a gorgeous dog.
I don't know.
One gone here in the 5th, and now it's Wells against Oswalt. Oswalt gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in the 1st inning. Since then, only 1 base hit. Both these pitchers have really gotten on a nice roll since the opening inning.
Well, they've both thrown strikes. They've both kept the ball down in the strike zone. And the thing about Kip Wells is he's run the ball in on the right-handers and sunk that changeup away from him. Oswalt has been down. He's more like his regular self right now. Fastball's down in the strike zone, and then when he needs to get a strikeout, he'll elevate and then follow it with that big hook. But I would imagine it takes Roy a little bit longer now to get loose and get into the groove of things than it did in years past.
Well, he's throwing a lot harder here in the 5th inning than he was early in the game, so he's getting loose. Presented by Honda, we take a peek at the National League wildcard race, which got a little bit tighter last night. Tim Lincecum and the Giants, we were talking about it before that game, and you felt like if Colorado won that game, mathematically it would not be over, but certainly that would put a big dent in the confidence of the Giants, and Lincecum delivered the goods, getting a win, big win. And game 2 of that series coming up later tonight. That'll be Ubaldo Jimenez against Barry Zito.
And that is the same type of game for the Giants now. If the Giants can come in there and Barry Zito can pitch a game that he's capable of pitching, even though Jimenez is awfully difficult to beat. But if Zito can pull something, pull a rabbit out of his hat there, and the Giants can pull one off, they can make a new thing of this. Boy, that was some kind of hook right there. My goodness. Ball stopped in midair.
Take another look. Goodness gracious. Warner Cable. Simply text tonight's keyword Perez, P-E-R-E-Z, to 37664, and you can win a $150 cash card plus a Fuel TV prize package. For official rules and an alternate form of entry, go to foxsports.com/Ohio. Well, we showed you who was here a little bit earlier on. I mean, the main man of college basketball. You can't watch a game any given week where he's not on at least, if not once, 2 or 3 times, the legendary Dick Vitale. Before we go any further, it's great to have you here, and congratulations, so well deserved, on the Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you, Tom. It was great being on with your dad a little while ago. Certainly talk about a Hall of Famer and a legend. But I'm just flattered. Bob Castellini and his family have been so good to my wife and I in our visit. What a beautiful ballpark. And I just hope they can win, because Cincinnati deserves a winner. And I think eventually, I had so many injuries. I'm a baseball nut, Tom.
I know you are.
I love baseball, and the injuries they had really was something else. But they got some good young kids. I seen a kid this year, Alonzo, down there in Sarasota. Francisco, your dad told me, he's up now with the club. And they got a kid named Fraser down there in the minors who's going to be a good player as well. So they got some good young kids, but you can't lose a Votto or Hernandez or lose a Bruce and lose people like the Harang, lose people like that and not get hurt.
So how you doing?
Doing really well. I'm in town to speak at a function tomorrow. Surprise speaker, so I can't mention the company.
Okay. Right.
But I'm in town, and I can't wait to address the group. But I love baseball. I'll be here tomorrow night, too.
I got to ask you, and obviously I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way, because everybody's excited about going to Arizona, but you have been down in the Siesta Key, Sarasota area for so long, and it's still kind of hard to believe, isn't it, that the Reds are not going to be there next year?
Well, I was so disappointed, because I got to know a lot of the people, and they all do such a phenomenal job. But eventually, we at least got fortunate and going to have baseball. We're thinking we're going to lose baseball, but the Orioles came through, so I'm happy we have baseball. But I understand the deal you guys got out there in Arizona was very unique and very special, but I know your people really love. I mean, what is there not to like?
Right, exactly.
Siesta Key Beach, Longboat Key. It's gorgeous. I live there, and I should pay them to live there. It's so beautiful.
Dickie, I'm looking forward to watching you and Dan Schulman, whoever your partner is, when you do college basketball. There's nothing like watching you do a game and bring the excitement that you bring to college basketball, whether it's in the studio, whether it's on the floor. I mean, even the the kids they go crazy with all those get-ups that you pull, those rabbits you pull out of your hat.
I'm envious of you, though. I wish I could have been in the major leagues in front like you did. My work with Dan Schulman is phenomenal. I get a chance to work with so many great guys, and I'm 70 years of age, and I still act like I'm 12. And I think
there's nothing wrong with that.
People always ask me, when are you going to step down? I said, I'll step down when I lose that energy and that enthusiasm.
Exactly.
But as long as I have it, I'll match any 25-year-old for spirit.
Dickie, we love you. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you for stopping by.
Great seeing you
Great
guys,
to see you.
and thanks.
Dick Vitale, kind enough to stop into Cincinnati and say hello up in the broadcast booth tonight. A lot of times you'll see a second baseman just hold the glove right on any body part in case a guy does that, and they'll call him out. The Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
There's been a couple of plays at second base today, both with Brandon Phillips. One where the ball ricocheted off of his glove.
How about the Houston native Paul Janish? He has his second hit tonight, undoubtedly against a guy that he grew up watching pitch regularly for the Houston Astros.
Janish likes the ball middle in. This ball is supposed to be away. Where is it? It is middle in, and it is about mid-thigh high. Those are the balls that Janish is going to hit day in and day out. He may not be a great breaking ball hitter. He doesn't like the ball down in the strike zone, but every once in a while you're going to see a hitter miss, and that is when Janish has to capitalize and make sure that he puts the ball in play. Looks like they're going out to check on Roy Oswalt. I don't know if his back is hurting him right now or if it's an issue where they may have to make a move. But he has battled that sciatica down that left leg from day one this year.
Well, they had Doug Brocail getting loose, and there you get a look. It won't take Brocail very long to get loose. He's been at it a long time.
You're right about that, Tom.
But Oswalt is convinced the trainer and Cecil Cooper, the manager, that for the time being he's all right. Well, at the very minimum, you got to get one of these runs back. I mean, obviously, you'd love to tie the game. You'd like even more to take the lead. But after a leadoff double, you have to get one run back. Trailing by 2. A leadoff double by Janish here in the last of the 6th. Strike 1 to Votto.
This is the second time that Votto's been in this situation. First time in the first inning, he flied out to left field, did not move the runner. This time, he's got to concentrate on pulling the ball. If the base hit comes, it's got to be to right field. Or a bullet up the middle, one way or the other.
0-1 to Votto. And it's lifted into short left. Is going to be. It'll fall. Unable to get it is Lee. And Janish going to be held at third. And good base running by Votto. He ends up at second.
Wow.
It looked momentarily like Lee had that ball, and then it squirted out of there.
It really, really did, Tom. Reds fans, for a great tasting meal and unbeatable value, pick up delicious JTM Philly Kits, burgers, or delicious hoagies at your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, and fun. And that's about all she wrote for Mr. Roy Oswalt. I thought he was going to get the ball, Tom, but it looked like it just rolled right underneath the glove.
So this will be our skyline call to the bullpen. 5+ innings for Oswalt. The Reds have runners at second and third with nobody out, trailing 4-2 in the 6th. We'll be back. Tomorrow night, all you do is mention Fox Sports Ohio when you're at the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, and you receive a $2 admission to see the great Crosley Field exhibit and so much more. If you've never been and you're a baseball fan, you got to stop in. It's an amazing place.
Every time I have brought one of my buddies up here, or even girlfriends of Ashley's, and they've gone into the Hall of Fame, they come out just jaw drop. They have no idea that that's what it is. It's great.
It is so nice. And after the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, it is undisputedly the next best baseball museum of any kind in America. Here's Brandon Phillips, and this will bring in a run and advance a runner. Now that's team baseball. 4-3 game, and you advance a tying run to third.
All Brandon Phillips did there was make up his mind he was going to hit a ground ball to the right side, because they're playing back. They're giving you the base. They're giving you the run. If they're going to give you the run with no outs on the board, well, we're going to take it. And that's exactly what Brandon Phillips says. That ball is up and away, not a strike, not something he can drive, but it is something that he can get the run in. Great job of hitting there.
Well, you want to become the leader of the team. You do that with more frequency, and you'll be the leader of the team.
Thank you very much. You're right, Tom. That's how you do it.
Because here's another guy that's made a living. Not going to happen every time, but he's made a real good living. Knocking in runs from third with less than 2 men out, and that's Scott Rowland.
Playing the game the right way.
Infield in. Tying run is Votto at third. And a fastball from Doug Brocail, who takes over for Roy Oswalt. Oswalt cannot lose this game. He can still get the win, and the Reds are hoping to give him a no decision and tie this thing up. Brocail has had an excellent career.
And he is a veteran who's been around a long time. This Right here, this is just 14 games here at the end of the season.
Well, it's been a rough year for him. He's been on the disabled list 3 times this season. He just came off at the start of this month with a right shoulder strain. 3-1 to Rolen. And this will bring in another run. And Bourne on the run to straightaway center field. A ground rule double for Rolen. And the Reds have tied the game at 4. How about Brandon Phillips and Scotty Rolen getting the job done?
I looked up, Tom, and I saw where Michael Bourne was playing, and I thought to myself, boy, that's really shallow for where. Look where he's playing right in this area. That is awfully shallow for a center fielder. And when the ball comes off of the bat, Michael Bourne had to turn and run full speed with his jersey back to home plate and still couldn't get there.
Rolen 2 RBIs tonight. And here's Jay Bruce, 2 for 2 in his career against Doug Brocale.
This is a big hit right here.
Breaking ball swung on and missed, 0-2. So close the book on Oswalt. 5+ innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, all earned. Can't win, can't lose.
Part of Jay going to winter ball, as we were talking about earlier, Tom, is so that he can get back that confidence that he had when he first came to the big leagues. Get back to hitting with runners in scoring position. Make some adjustments in his swing, in his vision, in his batting stance, whatever it is, just micro adjustments. It may only be confidence in the head for Jay Bruce. We don't know that.
A jam shot pop up here. Tejada looking for help and can't make the catch. Rolen on his way to third, and a throw there, and he's out. Of course, he had to wait, believing the ball would be caught, and he took a chance.
Well, Rolen did not know that the ball was going to bounce directly from him straight over to Michael Bourne, and he just picks it up and just flips it right in there in a hurry. Actually, that was Tejada. Tejada picked it up and zipped it right to him.
From his knee.
Yeah, and normally when you've missed a ball like that and you're falling backwards, you don't just turn around and the ball is sitting right there for you to pick it up.
So it'll be scored a single for Bruce. But Rolen trying to advance second to third, thrown out by Tejada. So a 4-4 game, runner at first, 2 away for Lance Nix, who's bounced to first and fly to center. Strike 1.
I just wonder what the ball looks like to Lance Nix right now after being out of hitting live pitching for almost 2 weeks.
Down to left field line, and Lee is there, and that'll retire the side. But the Reds get 4 hits, 2 runs to tie the game at 4 as we move to inning number 7.
In the press box, let's update you on our Fox Sports Ohio text poll question. Of course, it's the battle of the baseball movies all week long, and we chose 16. It's 4 against each other for 4 straight nights. Now, last night, The Natural beat out Angels in the Outfield, the original, Bang the Drum Slowly, and Damn Yankees. Well, tonight it's kind of the comedy category. Bad News Bears, Major League, A League of Their Own, and The Sandlot facing off. And The Sandlot had the early lead, but Major League has come back. They're 39% to 38%. And I'm usually an easygoing guy, laid back. I usually don't protest too much. But if The Sandlot was going to beat Major League and Bad News Bears, I was going to file an official complaint. In fact, you can do that as well. We're double dipping. Facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio. Post some comments on there, and some of the good ones we'll put on Reds Live post game.
Yeah, like the fact that the rookie is not on there. Not out of 16 doggone movies. A matter of weather.
Well, if you log on to Facebook, Cowboy, and put your comment on there, and we might put it on the post game show. And Fly ball to left field. Lance Nix runs it down. Still a chance for you guys to vote. 37664 is where you text your votes to. 37664. Standard text message rates apply. 1 for Bad News Bears, 2 for Major League, 3 for our League of Their Own, or 4 for Sandlot. I want Bad News Bears, boys. We'll have the final results in the postgame show.
Look forward to it.
Tanner Boyd, little Timmy Lupus.
Indeed.
Chico's bail bonds. It's on the back of their unis.
See, he's got it down. That's what I'm talking about.
Fastball up and into Jeff Keppinger for ball 1. We talked about Kip Wells. Boy, what a turnaround from the first inning. If somebody would have told you he'd be on the mound in the 7th after the way he threw the ball in the first, you'd have never believed it. He allowed 3 runs, 3 hits, 3 stolen bases, along with a walk to the first batter of the game. Since then, he's allowed 1 base runner, a solo home run in the 3rd to Matsui, and since that home run, has retired 13 consecutive batters.
I think a lot of this time, and I could be crazy by saying this, but I think a lot of it is this club is starting to feel one another and working in the same direction instead of everybody pulling in a different direction and so many different players going this way and that way. Stability is big, and you got the same 5 guys going out there every 5th day. We had that early in the season in April and May, and as soon as that dropped off, what happened? They started losing a lot of ball games. Injuries not only affect you from a player personnel standpoint, they also affect your chemistry of your ball club.
2-2 to Keppinger, and a line drive center field base hit. So the string of 13 in a row retired by Wells is over on a 1-out single by the former Red Keppinger here in the 7th. We remind you the Mega $1 Million jackpot is at $38 million in Ohio. You wouldn't figure Keppinger much of a candidate to run. Does not have a stolen base in 2 attempts this year. And there's strike 1 to Chris Coast.
But I would imagine, though, Tom, you can pull out all the stops here, and you see Coast kind of look down for an extra long time. They may hit and run. They may do something else here.
Now, oftentimes when a guy has not pitched out of the stretch for a long period of time, all of a sudden they'll be a little bit off as far as their location goes. You got to remember, he has not pitched out of the stretch since the 1st inning of this game until now, because the only other base runner after the 1st inning, except for Keppinger now,
hit a home run. Maybe that's why he's picking to first, to try to get used to that incline again.
Good pitch there.
I still believe that this pitch is his best pitch, and it's a changeup. He holds it in between the index finger and the pinky finger, holding it with those two fingers there, the ring finger and the middle finger, and just lets the pronation take care of itself. When the ball comes out, you can see it dip and dive.
0-2 now. And it's low and away on a breaking ball.
And I really think that he would have more break on that breaking ball if he could just get his middle finger just around the end of the baseball, just a tad, not much, just a tad, so he can get that feeling and make that ball go down.
Still 1-2. 4 runs, 5 hits for Houston. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Reds. Wells started it. He's still in there. Oswalt long gone. 5+ innings, allows 4 earned runs. One and two to count, and Wells ready. Here comes the pitch, and it's in the air to right. Bruce nearing the line, makes the grab for the second out of the inning, and now Cecil Cooper will go to his bench and bring on Jason Michaels to bat for Doug Brocail. Now Michaels on a pretty good roll lately, a real good roll. In his last 15 pinch hit appearances, 5 hits in 9 at bats, and has walked 6 times.
Well, Michaels has had an opportunity throughout the years, starting in Philadelphia, to have a chance to play on a regular basis, then go back to the bench. If I'm not mistaken, he had some time in Minnesota where he got a chance to play for a period of time, and Cleveland got a chance to play for a period of time. So this is no young kid coming up there getting ready to swing the bat.
Ball 1.
He keeps his hands back pretty well, and the one thing that I do remember about Jason Michaels is if he gets a ball up and out over the plate, he can hit it out. He's got a lot of strength.
1-0 on Jason Michaels. 4 home runs overall this season, but none as a pinch hitter. Shy of the century mark, the pitch count for Kip Wells. And here's a 1-1 to Michaels in a 4-4 game with 2 outs in the 7th. A fastball sails high and away. Michaels 2 hits and 4 at bats in his career against Wells, including a home run.
Every pitcher knows if you've taken him deep or not. You may not know whether you've struck him out 2 or 3 times, or if he has a single off of you. If he's taking you out of the ballpark, you know that.
No matter what.
No matter what. You try to forget those things when you get to my age, but while you're still playing, Kip Wells knows that Michaels is taking him out.
2-1 on Michaels. Wells a glance over his shoulder, and the pitch is low and in. So you mean it's never going to happen to you where some guy walks up to you and says, you know, I remember taking you deep back in blah blah blah, and you like, no, that didn't happen.
Well, now right now I might not remember all of that, but when I was playing and you came up and said, oh, I got you back so and so, I said, no, you didn't. And if you did, then I'd say, all right, well, that's good, I'm glad you did.
There's ball 4 to Michaels.
Better look out today.
No signal made by Dusty Baker yet. You saw Herrera, you saw Burton down in the bullpen. You have Michael Bourne coming up, and now Dusty wants a left-hander, Daniel Ray Herrera. So you got to give it up to Wells. I mean, he looked as bad as you can look in the first inning. All over the place. Walked the first batter of the game on 4 pitches. Allowed 3 stolen bases and 3 runs. He was lights out after that.
Kept his team in the game. That's what you're supposed to do.
He leaves with 2 on and 2 out in a 4-4 game. Herrera on to face Bourne when we come back. 2 on in a 4-4 game here in the 7th inning. And on to face Michael Bourne is rookie left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera. And a breaking ball is off the outside corner, ball 1.
65th ball game for this rookie left-hander.
Bourne is 0 for 3 against Herrera. Wow.
I would throw him that breaking ball and continue to stay on top of it. Screwball, breaking ball, screwball, breaking ball. I don't think he can hit those pitches. That was a screwball there. He may be easier to hit the breaking ball. We've seen him, Tom, hit the fastball off of some of the other guys that have really thrown the ball hard. But he has a real hard time keeping his hands back. There's a reason that this guy couldn't hit a couple of years ago.
1-2 to count on Bourne, and he threw him a fastball that he fouls away.
Don't do that.
Herrera grew up in Odessa, Texas. Then played collegiately at the University of New Mexico. Was drafted by the other Texas team in the major leagues, the Rangers, and he takes care of Michael Bourne from the Houston Astros.
Money.
4-4 game. Time now for the 7th inning stretch, presented by Cincinnati Bell. Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer in the Ford F-150 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit myCincinnatiHondaDealer.com. And by McDonald's of Greater Cincinnati. Now, before we tell you about the new pitcher, speaking of our great sponsor, McDonald's, you were telling the story before the game today about stopping into McDonald's. Was that last night after the game?
It was.
And what did you eat?
2 double quarter pounders with cheese and 2 Oreo cookie McFlurries. Sorry about that.
Was it good?
Solid. I took the onions off so I could sleep. I like those pickles.
Sammy Garbaggio takes over on the mound.
A .68 earned run average. This is his 18th ball game.
And he hits Corky Miller with the very first pitch, which leaves his fingertips.
You know, you almost had to know that was coming, Tom. As wild as he was in last night's ball game, facing Juan Francisco, the ball tailing so far up and away from Francisco, but yet this kid was voted as the best slider in the league that he played in. But yet, if you can't throw a fastball for a strike, slider's not going to do you a whole lot of good. You got to throw something for a strike that is going to be called a strike.
Well, now Drew Sutton going to come up and bat for Daniel Ray Herrera. Boy, how good has Herrera been this year? You know, there are a lot of things that have not gone the way the Reds would have liked this season. But there are a number of bright spots, as that one is taken way outside, that have taken place with this ball club this season. Most of them are down in the bullpen. But the years turned in by Carlos Fisher, Daniel Ray Herrera as rookies, and then the emergence of Nick Masson have been 3 great stories in that pen.
I think there's no doubt about it. And I think that Francisco Cordero would be one of the first ones to tell you how good they have been. You look at the numbers from Massett. There's, as you see, Massett warming up there. He's 5-1 on the year. His numbers across the board are just phenomenal. And the thing for Daniel Ray Herrera is he hasn't just done it by coming into ball games and just racking up some innings on a 15-1 game. He's pitched in games that have been 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. A game like today in a tie ball game with bases loaded. I mean, Dusty has not held back on him. He's treated him as though he's been in the big leagues for the last 10 years.
Bronson Arroyo going to come on and pinch run for Corky Miller.
Well, if you're going to ask Sutton to bunt, that's probably a good idea.
Well, 2-0. The question is, do you still ask him to bunt? And the answer would be yes. Played by blood. So give the sacrifice to Sutton. A job well done. The Reds have the go-ahead run at second with one away.
Now here's where the Reds hitters, whoever they may be coming to the plate, it looks like it's going to be Stubbs here. You got to be awfully patient because this kid is wilder than a March hare. He hit Corky Miller with the first pitch. Any ball that comes to the third base side of home plate is usually tailing so far inside that it's not going to be a hittable pitch, nor is it going to be a pitch that's called for a strike.
All right, Stubbs digging in, and first pitch swinging, fouls it away off his foot. Okay, young players, they're hard to figure, aren't they? I mean, you look at last night, the at-bat by Stubbs when he had a 3-1 count with runners at first and third, and he took a fastball right down the middle from a guy who throws a ton of strikes in Wandy Rodriguez.
I know.
And then against the guy you mentioned, who is erratic at best with his control. Stubbs up there, first pitch swinging. And now behind 0-2. But such is the life, your first month in the major league sometimes.
That's why you play the games. That's why we sit up here and shake our heads.
Lead run at second base is Bronson Arroyo, and a fastball sails up and in. 1-2 strikes to Drew Stubbs, another native Texan, played at the University of Texas.
And the thing about Gervaccio is he's not a flame-throwing fastball guy. He relies on a running fastball to get you back off the plate, and then he comes back with that slider down and away.
Threw a fastball right by Stubbs there at 86 miles an hour, and they're 2 away in the inning.
Now this is where you just don't get it if you're watching him throw the baseball. This has slider spin on it and does absolutely nothing except spin like a cement mixer. You would think that ball would be hit to kingdom come, and it was totally missed.
So now Janish, who's had a good night, went 2 for 3 against Roy Oswalt with a couple of doubles, has scored a pair of runs. Ball 1 away. Remember now, the Astros are without their closer, Papa Grande. That would be Jose Valverde. He is under the weather. In fact, he did not even make the trip because of a high fever and a sore throat when the team left Houston on Sunday to fly here to Cincinnati in their strength.
Well, at this point in time, with anyone, regardless of the organization that you're with, I don't care if it's baseball, school, whatever, business group, if you have a fever, you don't come to the meeting, because that flu is spreading around so fast. I don't think the doctors know what to do with it.
1-1 to count, and a drive into right center field, and this is going to break this tie. And Janish, his third extra base hit of the game, his third double, and the Reds lead at 5-4. Nicely done by Paul Janish.
That is his 17th double on the year. And all Janish does there is he just waits on the ball to get deep into the strike zone, and then he just tattoos it, hands and hips, doesn't try to overswing, and just makes it happen, drives it the other way.
Well, they're going to intentionally walk Joey Votto and take their chances with right-handed batting Brandon Phillips. How about the Reds rallying in the 7th inning last night? Trailed 1-0, scored 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and eventually won it 3-1. After tying the game with 2 in the 6th inning, they've taken the lead again in the 7th.
Well, to me, it just makes me feel that much better about this club as time moves on. I know that you're playing a team that's not in first place, but you're still playing a ball club that has Tejada, Carlos Lee. It has Hunter Pence, Jeff Blum. I mean, this is no club that is just going to let you just walk all over.
Hey, you know, Jeff, look, I mean, I'm not waving the pom-poms and wearing a skirt up here as a cheerleader. But you know what? The Reds win this game tonight, and they still have to get 6 outs, and it's only a 1-run lead.
Right.
They are 4 games behind Houston for 3rd place in the Central.
Look,
and a lot of people out there can say, big deal. You're still 14 games under 500. And you know what? You're exactly right. They would still be 14 games under 500. But finishing 3rd as opposed to finishing 5th is a big deal.
It really is. And it's a big deal to these kids. And that's what matters more than anything else. Every fan that's in this ballpark, or every fan that watches this club plays, wants to see them win and come in first place and get to the playoffs. I understand that more than anybody, but you got to take baby steps before you start sprinting.
Phillips did not like that call by the home plate umpire Tim Wilkie. It's 0-2 on Brandon. So you look back on that 2-run 6th inning when the Reds got a double by Janish and a double by Votto. As you look at that last pitch that was called a strike, Phillips came up there with runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, and clearly gave himself up by pushing a ground ball to the right side to bring in a run and setting up another. Gone on strikes here. We move to the 8th. The Reds have taken a lead. It's a 5-4 game. We go to the top half of the 8th inning, and the Reds have a new battery.
Nick Massett on the mound, the right-hander, and he'll be hitting in the number 9 spot as the pitcher normally does. Behind the plate, a new catcher in Ryan Hannigan.
Well, an excellent job overall after a shaky first turned in by starter Kip Wells. He can't figure in the decision. Daniel Ray Herrera is all of a sudden the guy that's in line for a win if Massett and company can nail this thing down. It's a 1-run lead.
But I think the biggest issue for the starting pitcher Wells in this ball game is he didn't fold the tent after the 3-run first. He kept pitching even after the home run. He continued to pitch and keep the team in the game and give the Reds a chance to do what they've done right now, and that is take the lead.
Well, you're going right through the teeth of the batting order. Matsui, who's had a good night, a single, a home run, 2 RBIs, has stolen a base and scored twice. Pence to follow, and then Carlos Lee. And quickly, Massett ahead of Matsui at 0-2.
And this is what we talked about before the ball game, Tom. This is where the Reds have got to make hay, because this has been one of the toughest parts of their ball club and the most reliable parts of their ball club all year, and that's been the bullpen.
0-2 on Matsui, and Massett going to work. Strike 3. We'll celebrate the Reds' new spring training home of Goodyear, Arizona this Friday through Sunday. Now, the first 5,000 fans at each game this weekend receive a special limited edition Goodyear ballpark visor. And you can stop by the fan zone during the game for more information on the city of Goodyear and the new state-of-the-art training facility. For tickets to that game or any game the rest of the year, 381-REDS, 381-REDS, or go to Reds.com. Be out in Goodyear, Arizona, beginning in, well, the club will report in February, and Cowboy will be out there either the end of February, beginning of March.
Gotta find me a place to live.
I don't know much in this world, but if you need a little bit of direction, my wife knows a little bit about that place. born and raised.
Probably will be calling you tomorrow.
Well, maybe not tomorrow.
Oh, no?
She's out of town.
Oh.
Yeah.
When's
0-2 the count. She'll be back tomorrow night.
We'll need to talk with this winner sometime.
Oh, yeah. One ball and 2 strikes on Penn. So Massa jumping in front on each of the first 2 hitters in this Houston 8th inning. Good hitters at that. At 0-2 before missing on that 0-2 pitch to Pence. And now he'll try and put him away. I don't know how Pence made contact, but he did.
I don't either. That was a nasty breaking ball. This pitch starts down. It's straight over the top, so it's difficult to recognize. And when you can start your breaking ball the way that Massa does, where he gets his fingers right on top of the ball and drives it straight down, very few hitters can pick that ball up when it's down like that.
See you later. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mr. Massa here in the 8th inning.
That was a 91-mile-an-hour breaking ball. He threw 2 down low, got a swing, and then he got a take. That one, not only did he swing, but he blew him away with it.
$11,923 fans in attendance, 562 dogs in attendance. We've had 2 Bark in the Park nights here at Great American Ballpark this year, and both times sold out. The very first day they went on sale.
Well, that's
good
a good
stuff.
thing.
It is a good thing. Everybody getting along just fine.
Well, Boston Terrier, that's what I had when I was growing up.
1-1. Thank the folks from Eukanuba for sponsoring tonight's event. Harold Dates and all the great folks at SPCA Cincinnati. Also a part of all the festivities. And I'll tell you right now, if you haven't had a chance to check out that new location out on Condrey Road over in Blue Ash, here's a base hit into right field by Lee. You know, a lot of people, they get discouraged thinking about going to a dog shelter to get a dog, a cat, whatever the case may be, because let's face it, they may not be the most uplifting places in the world. I can promise you, you go check out that new location on Condrey Road of the SPCA in Cincinnati, and you will love it and feel good about being there. And there's no doubt in my mind you'll have a new family member walking out of it. It is a beautiful facility. They're still over on Coleraine Avenue as well. They have 2 locations now. Here's Miguel Tejada. Strike 1. Those dogs are always on the alert, that breed. You know what I mean?
Boston Terrier.
Yeah, they're always checking things out. Not quite like the Jack Russell Terrier.
That's true.
They're on point 24/7. 0-1 to Tejada. Good breaking ball there for strike 2.
Tejada was sitting dead fastball right there. You could really see him load that front side and get ready to drive that ball the other way. He sees breaking ball and he's just got to stop. Oh, hang in there, big guy.
Well, now Massa trying to put this 8th inning on ice with the Reds leading by a run. He's ahead of Miguel Tejada, 0-2.
Give him one down in the dirt. He likes to swing.
Throw the heater, Ricky.
Throw it in the dirt.
0-2 on Tejada. Let me hear you do that one more time. That was really good.
What's that?
The line.
Oh, I'm the heater, Ricky. But throw it in the dirt.
Nice. Nice. Oh, and 2 on Tejada.
Told you.
Let me hear it again. Oh, I'm the heater, Ricky. But throw it in the dirt.
Yes, sir. 3-0 in the top of the first. Got 2 of them back. Matsui homered in the third to make it a 2-run game, and Oswalt in his career 23-1 against the Reds. You figure you're in trouble. But they got back-to-back doubles off Oswalt to begin the 6th inning, score twice to tie it, and break the tie with a run in the 7th on a 2-out double, the 3rd of the game for Paul Janish.
And they got the big boy Oswalt out of the game early.
Rolling a ground ball against LaTroy Hawkins to begin the bottom of the 8th inning. 1 pitch and 1 out. Hawkins been around a long time, Cowboy.
He has. And he hasn't lost a whole lot on that fastball. Straight over the top, straight fastball. He's developed a little bit of a cut fastball slider type pitch, and he's also still got that straight over the top 12-6 curveball.
So you look at those numbers, that's a pretty doggone good year right there.
It really is. 41-15, that's solid.
Yep.
Much less the ERA.
That's real good. He has allowed the 7 home runs, something you were talking about with Masson.
But LaTroy plays in a ballpark that gives up a lot of home runs, especially to left-handed hitters who just slap the ball into the Crawford boxes down the left field line.
Fastball on the outside corner, 1-1 to Jay Bruce. Jay 1 for 3 in a game. Had that bloop single that Tejada should have caught in shallow center in the 6th. Well, join the official kids club of the Reds, the Redheads Kids Club, at your local Bob Evans restaurants. Members get a chance to participate in the Bob Evans Reds Heads run on before a Sunday Reds game and get an autograph from one of your favorite Reds. It's a great club. You get great discounts and a lot of free stuff once you join up. Strike 3 called on the inside corner, and they're 2 away in the 8th.
This doesn't look like Jay's recognizing the ball as soon out of the pitcher's hand as he did earlier in the season. You saw him foul off the pitch before, and then this pitch, he doesn't pick it up until it's already in the mitt, and it's a changeup.
Strike 1 to Lance Nix, his first game back in over 2.5 weeks. Francisco Cordero is ready in the Reds bullpen. In the air left field, and that'll do it. Nearly losing it in the lights was Lee, but able to stay with it, and that'll retire the side. The Reds have not lost a game all season long when leading at the end of 8. They'll try and keep that streak alive when we come back. The game. There you go, Cowboy.
Hey, it's
a wiener dog.
It is a dachshund. It's a dachshund with a bun.
That's good stuff. That dachshund's been around for a while.
Look at that bulldog up there. That's what I'm talking about.
What do you think he's thinking about right now? That bulldog.
He's thinking about how bad Auburn beat him last week.
Georgia won that game.
Stop
right?
it.
Oh, you're talking about the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I'm sorry. Here comes Francisco Cordero. Reds lead by a run. Cordero looking for save number 36, and this is his 39th chance. He had a 1-2-3 ninth inning to get save number 35 last night, and he's facing the bottom part of the order. Blum, Keppinger, and Coast. And this is out number 1 if it's played by Drew Stubbs, and it is. Mentioned going to the commercial break. But the Reds this season are 54-0 when leading at the end of 8 innings. They are the only National League team undefeated when leading at the end of 8.
Now, a lot of that has to do with the man that, well, it all has to do with the man that's on the mound right now.
And some of you may be saying, oh, wait a minute now, they've blown saves in the 9th inning. You would be right. There have been games where they've led at the end of 8, given up the lead, but won the game. There haven't been many of them.
But he only has, what, 2 blown saves, 3 blown saves all year?
All year.
And it may be where he gave up 1 run, and then the Reds came to tie the game. The Reds came back and ended up winning.
Broken bat roller, easy play for Phillips, and the Astros are down to their final out. Herrera in line for the win. Gervasio on the hook for the loss. And look who's stepping up to the player of the on-deck circle, I beg your pardon. Aaron Boone. There's a base hit into left center field off the bat of Coast. So the tying run is aboard, and the go-ahead run comes to the plate. You heard the round of applause for Aaron Boone, and you'll hear more of it when they announce his name right now. Tommy Mansella is running for Coast. You know the story on Aaron Boone by now. Just activated at the beginning of this month. Had been on the disabled list going all the way back to spring training when he underwent open heart surgery. Jeff Pecoro had a very nice interview with Aaron Boone, the longtime Red. There's a fly ball into right field, and this should do it. Reds win 3-1 last night, 5-4 tonight. And Cowboy, they are now 4 games behind this Astros team for 3rd place in the National League Central.
Keep on rolling. Play together, play strong, keep the same ideal ahead of you.
Reds win 5-4. They'll go